Principles of ethical communication. Please read. Mr. Alexander Lawan. Hello? Is Mr. Lawan here, Alexander?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Not.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Please make your voice louder. I cannot hear you well enough.
Can you hear me? Can you, ma'am? Good morning, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Morning.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Will you please, sir, read the first, principle of ethical communication, reflected?
First, principles of ethical
Like,
communication. Yes, ma'am.
okay.
The first is we have to be being committed to the courageous expression of personal convictions in pursuit of fairness and justice.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Okay, so what can you say about that, sir? Especially in relation, to your profession or as a person. Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. As a, as a police officer, ma'am,
Yes, sir.
we have to be in as a police officer, we have to be serious and courageous with our duty as police officer. And in pursuit of fairness and justice, we have to give justice to everyone. And we have to be fair in implementing rules and regulations, and especially in implementing guidelines and enforcing laws in our area of responsibility.
Okay. So thank you for that. Stated here, committed to the courageous expression of personal conviction. Okay. So, of course, when we actually are members of an organization class, we know how the organization should be run. We know how members of the organization have to act, or communicate with the significant people around. Okay. So that is why we have to have the courage to ensure that fairness and justice are actually observed, at all times. Okay, although it may not actually be easy, maybe there can also be times now that we tend to hesitate, to know to express what we know, but of course when there, for example, as you stated by Mr. Lawan, no, being a law enforcer, so it is but the mandate, to really ensure that fairness and justice have to prevail at all times. So uh, in doing so, class, we have to ensure that we say what needs to be said, okay, and of course avoid talks that will not result into good outcomes. Okay, so what is, I think now in communication is that we just have to think, should I say this? Does this need to be said? Does this need to be known? Should I assert this? Okay, as circumstances require. Okay, because it is important also that we also have to learn to speak up when we know that that is the truth. Okay, so that I think that is actually one, of our responsibilities. Just a no, just a what's this? To relate just a little. In our neighborhood class, there was actually a conflict that occurred, between two neighbors. It's because one neighbor accused the other of throwing trash, okay, in a certain area. But the other person was, but it's the other person, other person who did the throwing. So what happened was that although there was really no direct confrontation, but that neighbor who actually felt aggrieved because according to him, okay, he cleaned okay the area, and then on the following day there was already the pile of trash, and the other one was the one suspected of doing that. And so what happened, class? Okay, when there was an opportunity that okay, the other person, the one suspected, no, was able to tell also another, okay, who is a neighbor, no, of the truth that it was not really okay, her family was responsible of throwing such trash, but the other neighbor. Okay, and so what happened was that the truth was actually told to the one who got angry, and so he then realized he was mistaken for having suspected the wrong person. Okay, so if the truth was not told to that person who got angry, so maybe the conflict could actually have gone worse. Okay, so the good thing was that okay, the other person, the other neighbor who knew of the truth, okay, informed him of the mistake, okay, that he incurred. And so, okay, the problem was actually resolved. Okay. I need to be signing class for the application for graduation, no, for graduating students so that they'll be able to file. Okay, so please forgive me if there will be intermittent, okay, disruptions because today is the deadline of the filing for graduation. Okay. Ye, nana ye. Diba? Okay, so that's it. So sometimes class, it is important that if there is something that we really know that can actually shed light on the matter, then we have to have courage. Okay. So the second one, may I ask for your okay insights on this? Miss Jenica Joy Goylan. Miss Jenica, are you with us this morning? Miss Jenica Joy Goylan. Yes, ma'am. Will you please read the second principle of ethical communication?
The second principle of ethical communication is to advocate sharing information, opinions, and feelings when facing significant choices, while also respecting privacy and confidentiality. My idea of this principle, ma'am, is that we should encourage others to share their ideas also because it is important for us for them uh, uh, so that they would feel that they are a part of a group or they are given importance because their ideas are being listed or listened to, ma'am, and not just left behind, and uh, and that they should also we should also encourage others to uh, whenever they are torn between among choices, they should also that they can ask someone confidently that for an opinion of their problem or that's all, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Jenica. Yes, okay, so especially for an organization class, there has to be the collaboration, okay? Because nobody has the monopoly of good ideas, okay? So even if you are actually the department head or you are actually the person in charge, no, in that certain organization, so it is important also that you also have to solicit ideas from the others. Okay, so even if they can actually, they may be actually your okay subordinates. Okay, you are above them. Okay, but who knows? They actually have good ideas that can actually contribute, okay, to the achievement of a certain goal that your organization may actually have, or okay. So even class in a small domain, okay, even also class for example in the family domain, even in the office domain, just confined in a certain okay place, no? Okay, for example, in an office, so there can actually be the sharing, the soliciting of ideas. But of course, there can also be those topics that we have to talk, okay, in private, okay, because these are delicate matters that also do not need to be known by everyone. Okay? So that is why it's stated here, we also have to respect privacy, especially if that matter is so personal. So we should also know the limits as to where we can get into. Okay? So we cannot also push the person really to tell us of something that he or she is not really comfortable with. Okay? That is why there's what we call as privacy. And if ever also the person shares a very personal matter, okay, such sharing is entrusted. And therefore, it is meant for your consumption, for your own knowledge, and is not meant, okay, to be told to the others. That is why, class, okay, it is really important that we know, okay, when to keep for ourselves certain things that we know, especially okay, especially when it does not actually involve other people. Okay, because for the first principle is that we have to be courageous to express okay personal convictions in pursuit of fairness and justice. Okay, because we have to say what needs to be told, what needs to be said. Okay, but for the second principle also plus the okay in terms of the sharing of ideas, we also have to know the limits and we also to recognize that there are also certain matters that have to be kept okay privately. Okay, and if ever there's actually the sharing that occurs, okay, confidentiality has to be preserved. Okay, as long as okay such privacy and confidentiality do not actually compromise the welfare or well-being of other people. So there is really no need to make the others okay know about it. Okay, that is why we also have to be trustworthy, no, of what is shared, okay, with us. Okay, then the last principle here, please read and then please share your insights. Okay, Miss Norjana Makasimpan.
Morning, ma'am.
And
Accept responsibility for the short and long-term consequences for our own communication and expect the same of others. So, ma'am, whatever the consequences uh, of the communication you had, you have to accept the responsibility.
so we have to be mindful
Yes,
of
yes.
what we say because what we say can actually have short or long-term consequences or outcomes. Okay, especially for oral communication class, it's okay fleeting. It passes quickly. Okay, we do not actually have the time to edit what we say. Sometimes, especially at the height of our emotions, at the height of our anger, we are able to say words that later on we regret having said. Okay, because whatever we say, class, good or bad, can actually have short or long-term consequences. Okay, and that is why we have to be responsible enough. That is why it is really an advice that we have to think many times first before we are going to say a certain statement because it may actually have okay a short or a long impact on the people okay affected by what we say. Okay, so that is why here an example, no, when there are when a certain talk, supposedly the talk is just between us. Okay? But then what I have told you, so okay, is a delicate matter that is just supposedly to be confined between us. And then you tell the other person, okay? And then that other person tells also the other, and then later on we will realize that everybody knows about it. What makes it worse is that this is the only thing that you have said but then the other one who's not able to receive well, maybe can be adding something or okay, deleting certain details And that is why there is a new story created. And the last version that has reached the last person entirely has received an entirely different story at all. And so, and then when you try to trace who said this is not what I said, this one, okay? And then when you try to trace, then nobody admits, right? That is why it really pays class. And sometimes we really have to learn to really temper our mouth because our mouth sometimes needs to be zipped, okay, so as to prevent, okay, negative consequences. Okay, but of course, again, I think this does not contrast to the first principle because basically the first principle tells us to say what needs to express, what needs to be said. Okay, but of course, the third principle tells us we have to be responsible to what we say. Okay, so especially in our workplaces class, we have to be very mindful of our language. Okay, the way we communicate with other people because we do not know how the others may actually receive. I want you to give your insights. No? I was actually looking at the net. No? I was reading something and then I stumbled on this. Okay? Will you please give your insights as to what could have been meant by Albert Einstein? Anyone? Yes, Miss Janine, you raised your hand. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Miss Janine.
Okay, so Albert Einstein stated that I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he is a garbage man or the president of the university. So, with this statement, Albert Einstein referred to a person having respect to each and everyone, no matter what social status the person may have in society. So, even if the garbage man is the person that you are talking to, if you have respect towards that person, just because he is a person in society, rendering his service, rendering his service to society in a very honorable way. So you just talk to him or her the way that you talk to a person with a high degree or high rank in society also. So no matter if you are a mayor or you are the president of the class, president of the United States, president of the Philippines, you talk to the person the same way as you talk to a stranger or you talk to a garbage person. That's it.
Updated it. Well, Miss Janine. So, as far as communicating, okay, with people, so there has to be the equal display of respect. Okay. For example, we talk about your president of the university. Okay, this actually represents people who have, as said by Ms. Janine, who hold high positions or high esteemed positions, or social status in the society. So therefore, definitely we show them respect. But such demonstration of respect is applicable also even to people, who we may say as having lower status in the society. Maybe that it can be associated with their socioeconomic status. But as far as talking with these people are concerned, everybody has to be accorded with the same level of respect. That's the essence. For me, classmate, in communication, that very essence, the very core of communication is respecting one another. Okay? So regardless who that person is, even you are actually a doctor, you are a lawyer, you are a nurse, you are a policeman, okay, or you're a successful businessman, and you come in contact with a person because such individual is a person like us, so we have to treat okay, that person with respect. Not just in our behavior, but also in our language. Okay?